Yeah, I don't ever remember feeling like this. But I'm out here in these YouTube streets. So I want you to get your fingers.
I don't know what you're doing.
I want you to
right
get
now,
your mouse.
I want you to check me out.
And I want you to check me out.
Get ready to do this. It's the relationship rehab. Like, share, and subscribe. We coming at you live. So come on, let's take a ride. And subscribe to United Guns of America. Just click that link and listen up to what I'm telling you. It's the relationship rehab.
Click that link right now. You know what I'm saying? It's your boy Brian Redmond, and I just want y'all to subscribe to my channel. You know what I'm saying? I want you to let me know what you think. I'm gonna talk about some things, you can talk about some things, and we can do our thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's all about having a conversation, right? I mean, if we can't talk to each other, then, I mean, what are we really here for? I want y'all to be able to just come over to my channel, talk to me about what's going on with you, and I can tell you what's going on with me, and we can build some things, you know what I'm saying? That's all about growth, baby. So click that link, go ahead and swipe on your phone, whatever you gotta do. Share my content. It's just get me out here, baby. Cause we just talking, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I like doing what I'm doing because it's about the people. It's about us having a conversation with each other. It's about us discussing whatever needs to be discussed. And on these YouTube streets, this is the best place to do it, baby. Like, share, and subscribe. That's right. Click the link. Click the link. Yeah. I just want to say thank you to everybody that's out here that's already subscribed. You know what I'm saying? Cause y'all ain't the first one, and y'all ain't the last one. So I just want to give a shout out to everybody that done click the link, that done click the share, and then subscribe to your boy. Cause we gon' grow this thing together, baby. Relationship rehabbing, United Guns of America. To the world blow up, baby. Yeah. Click the link, baby. Click the link, baby. Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to send a shout out to all y'all. I love y'all. That's why I do this. It's for the love of us, baby. I appreciate all of y'all. Ooh, we gon' do this thing. We gon' do this thing right here, baby. Hey, look, if you had a computer right now, just go ahead and click your link. What else you got to lose, baby? Tell me what you think. Hit the comment section. You can jump on the live panel. We do it all here. That's what it's all about. So come holler at your boy. I've been doing this for years, but I just got onto this YouTube thing. So hey, let's see what it do and where it can go.
To United Guns of America. Just click the link and listen up to what I'm telling you, telling you.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Brian Redmond, and yes, we are back for yet another live show. I'm excited, and I must say, I was trying to respond to a email question that I got, but I can't find it. And I don't know if that person is actually watching right now, but I am having like the toughest time finding the question. I'm so sorry. I apologize because I had every intention of actually answering the question here, because that's exactly what I'm here for. But I don't see this question anymore. Somebody sent me a message to the relationship rehab and I don't see it. So I told them that I would answer it on the next live, and that was 2 lives ago, unfortunately. So I apologize for that. But I've been trying to find it for the past, I've been trying to find it for the past maybe 40 minutes. Well, about 20-30 minutes, but I can't find it anywhere, and I don't know why. It's unbelievable. And I just read it maybe 2 days ago, and I saw it, but I guess I'm gonna have to move past it, I guess. Well, I can't even move past it because I can't find the damn thing. But if you are watching, please resend it to me, because I don't know what happened to it in my feed. And it's usually like right here in my messages, but it's like gone. Man, that's so weird. Oh, wait, unless it was on Instagram. Hold up. Wait. Let me see if it was on Instagram, because I think that's where I may have gotten it. Let me take that off and let's go here. I think that may be it, because I'm usually pretty good at keeping up with them at least. I mean, damn. I don't see it there. Let me just check this, and then if not, if I don't find it, then we'll go ahead and just continue on with the show. But other than that, I hope everybody's doing all right. Please click that like button. Please. If you are watching, the new place to be is over here on the Rumble channel. So make sure that you get over to that if you have not done so already. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and pull that up over here. My Rumble should be live, ain't it? Ain't it? Yeah, it is. It's live. Let me just refresh that and click the play. And it should be there. Should see it. It says people watching, but I don't see the live feed. Why is that? Oh, wait, I gotta click that one. Maybe. Yes, no, maybe so. There we go. I see myself over there now. And is the live chat up? Yes. Enable slow chat. I don't need to do that. And pop out chat. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. So, yep. Let me just double check here. Nope. I don't see it. And I don't see it. So I don't know, and I cannot remember who it was, but please charge it to my head and not my heart, and resend me the question that you had, because it was actually a pretty good question, and it was like, damn, I'm so sorry, but I promise you I will do better. I can't believe that I lost that. Yeah, because it wasn't on Twitter. So it had to either be in I think it was on my Facebook. That's why I'm pretty sure that's where it was. And it wasn't here, yeah, because this is going back, and that's old stuff. So I know it wasn't there. And it was only like 2 weeks ago, if that. And I don't know why I do know why. I was slacking on my pimping and wasn't taking care of my business. That's exactly why I missed it. But yeah, I'm so sorry. Please resend it to me, and I will definitely address it like I should have the first time. But like I said, I just forgot, and now I don't see it, and I don't know where it possibly could be. Yep, because it's not there, and it's not there either, and I don't know. So send it to me. Please resend it. And if I find it again, I'll do it. But definitely resend it to me. And I apologize, because I should be way better at that. Doing this long, I should know better. And I should have at least kind of copied and pasted. Maybe that's what I'll do from now on. When I do get those, I'll copy and paste it. That way I'll have it and I can just pull it straight up. If I didn't do that yet, because I know I didn't do that. I don't think so. Nope. Yeah, I didn't. But yes, I will definitely try to do that going forward to make sure that I don't lose it, because it definitely alerted me when I got it. So for that, I am sorry. But I wanted to go ahead and get started with the show, and because this is about one of the topics I'm very passionate about, which is gun rights. I am pro 2A, for those of you who do not know. And I came across this story thanks to my brother Alvin, who sent this in a group text, and I saw it and I watched the video, and I was definitely intrigued by it, but I was also disappointed at the person who was actually in the debate with Jon Stewart. He was a terrible representative. He didn't have his shit together. He didn't have his talking points in order, and he did not have information. And he literally lost the debate because he was not properly equipped. And it's just like, always remember, people, when you have a debate, having a discussion, or whatever the case may be, know what your points are and where you stand at on a topic, but also know why and be able to support what it is that you're saying. Don't just get up there and just say, I like it because I feel it's this way. Don't do that. Don't just go off of that. Well, I just think it should be this way. No, you need to make sure that you have some real facts. You need to make sure that you definitely have some concrete talking points that you can really, point out. Shout out to Soldier Girl who came over here from the AFC. Thank you so much. I appreciate my brother DJ. I was watching him earlier while I was getting ready for the show. It was good to catch him live. Yeah, he's definitely doing his thing over there with the Advocates for Children. Definitely done a great job, and I appreciate that, brother. And thank you for stopping by. I hope you liked the show. And without further ado, I'm going to go to my favorite part, and then we're going to get it started.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
Oh, that's what's up. There go my brother DJ right there, and Debbie, and that's what's up. I appreciate that y'all stopping by. I appreciate it. Y'all be sure to subscribe to the Rumble. Came through to click the like button twice, my man. Yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to my Rumble. The clock is ticking on your boy over here on YouTube. I don't know how much longer they're going to tolerate my black ass before they put me out. But I already got another place to stay. So definitely do that, man. Subscribe to the Rumble joint just so you know, if one day you click here and they say this content or this channel is no longer available, you'll know why. Because I'm on strike 2 already. So, hey, it's full count, but I'm still in the game and I'm still making contact, staying alive. But if I fly out or if I strike out and that's it, just know that that's where I'm at. So, yes, make sure y'all do that. Matter of fact, let me put the Rumble joint in the chat just so anybody else that come over, they can see it as well. And I'll pin it up there. So, yes, indeed. Because like I said, time keeps on slipping into the future. So we're over here. So please make sure y'all subscribe to my Rumble joint. We growing it over there too. Same thing we did over here, we can do it over there, and it's gonna be even better. All right. So for those of you who don't know, Jon Stewart is I guess at one point,
I believe the
at one point he was a comedian, or he is a comedian. I never really found him funny, although he was in one of my favorite movies, which is I want to call it Big, but that ain't the name of it. Damn it. Adam Sandler, he was in that movie with Adam Sandler and the little boy. I forgot his name. Dang, I forgot the name of the movie. Somebody will remind me. But yeah, where Adam Sandler's taking care of the little kid and the dude's like, the little boy was like, I'll wipe my own ass. But Jon Stewart was in that. And he wasn't really funny in that. But I've never really, like, Big Daddy. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. I never really, just found him funny, although I knew he was a comedian. But then he also started having a late night talk show. And he did that for several years. And, he's done like a lot of stuff like that, doing his show, having monologue and having guests on. But I did not know about this. He has like pretty much like a podcast, and it's like on Apple TV. But it's like a podcast that he does, and he has like different people on the podcast, I guess, and he's talking about different topics, like a lot of people do today. But this particular topic kind of really, it kind of resonated with me, and it struck a nerve because I like this topic, and I believe that I can debate this topic pretty well. And I would even go as far as to say I would debate this topic with just about anybody. The Bill Maher's, Jon Stewart's, the whoever. I can debate this topic. And one of the biggest things about this is that those of you who are pro-gun, those of you who do believe in the Second Amendment and think that the Second Amendment is a right and it shall not be infringed for the specific reasons, not just that the forefathers wrote for it, the reason why the forefathers wrote it, but as it pertains to us today in society, I think that anybody who knows the history and knows these key talking points, you can justify this. Because the thing is, and what I don't like about a lot of people who are not necessarily pro-gun but are for more gun control, gun restriction, or they're just flat out anti-gun, like a George Soros or whatever the case may be. The two biggest things that I've always seen with that is that either they have no idea, and most of the people that do this, they have no idea what it's like to live in the real world, because they are living in either a Hollywood bubble or they are living in a elite bubble where, you know, crime really isn't prevalent, and the only crime that they know about is what they see on the news. And it's really something to see that somebody who doesn't really have a direct or firsthand knowledge about something, how they can take not only just their ideas and opinions and speak on them, but they will take their idea or their opinion and they would suggest it as law. They would suggest that even if you don't agree with them, that there's something wrong with you and that you don't care about people, you don't care about life, and you don't care about, you know, the citizens who suffer from gun violence. And it's one of those things to where I'm more so concerned as to say, well, and this is one of the reasons why I always try to talk about this, because if we're not talking about it, if people like me aren't talking about it, that actually live in an environment where having the right to bear arms it has been a critical part of my life and is extremely important, because I am not too far removed from crime, from the hood, from gun violence, from violence, period, to where I still have an understanding of what it is, and I have an understanding of why we need the Second Amendment. Because a lot of times they try to paint the picture of, oh, it could just be so much safer if we just got some more laws on the books, and if we just went after the guns, and if everyone turned them in, it would just be so much of a better life. And I don't understand how no one else can see that. And if you don't understand that, and if you can't see that, then God damn it, there's something wrong with you. And that's not what it is. Because at the end of the day, both of these people that are on this podcast right here, the odds of them ever coming remotely close to any type of violent situation where they would either be involved with gun violence or be even in the vicinity of gun violence are literally hundreds of millions of odds to one. And it's even safe to say it'll never happen. Jon Stewart will never be around gunfire. He will never be in the hood to where they're shooting. He will never see someone get shot. He will never be in an environment where he would get robbed at gunpoint, where he could get shot, where he could have a gun pointed in his face. He'll never be in that situation, because his life is about living an extravagant, well, not an extravagant, but more of an elitist life where he doesn't have to worry about those type of things. He lives in a gated community. He's traveled, and where he goes has armed security already. And most of the people that are at the forefront of being anti-gun or pro-gun control, most of them are in environments where they have armed security. And I find that ironic. Because you live in a gated community where there's armed security, or you live in an environment where you are surrounded by armed security, you just can't walk up and go meet Jon Stewart. You go to the studio where he works, you have armed security there. Not just somebody with a flashlight saying, hey man, I don't want any trouble. So it's like these people are not even remotely close to being in danger to where they would need a gun, which is why I think it's part of the reason why they're so quick to dismiss anybody needing a gun. And why it's just so much better for society if we just got rid of the things. Let's just get rid of the goddamn things, okay? I mean, enough's enough. That's just that mentality. And you can preach those kind of things when you're safe. You can preach those kind of things when you know in your heart of hearts, the odds of this happening to me are like winning the lottery. So it's easier to push that agenda when it doesn't impact you. It's just like how with inflation, how when the price of everything goes up, rich people ain't complaining about paying more for gas and more for eggs. You don't hear that. People who are below the poverty line who get free food stamps and WIC, they ain't bitching about paying more money for eggs. Eggs, y'all do know eggs is like damn near $10 now, right? So it don't bother them because the people who are below the poverty line, they get it for free. And the people who are well above it, they got so much money where it doesn't bother them. You can charge $10 for eggs, $20 for bacon, $22 for a pack of bacon, and they don't bother them one way or the other. Why? Because they can afford it. But it's the people that are in the middle class, the everyday folks, that got a job and got to go work a 9 to 5 in order to live, that these types of things not only affect us, but have a direct impact on our lives and the decisions that we make for ourselves and our families. And it's really, really disrespectful to me to just have people that can just dismiss that, to just nonchalantly tell me what we need to do and how, well, if we just, do this, we would be fine. Why can't you just see that? So I want to go ahead and I want to start this, and I want us to start just listening to what Jon Stewart is saying, because he's making some valid points, but those points can easily be countered. And I don't know why this senator from Oklahoma, Nathan Dahm, I don't know why he didn't come prepared to speak to these points. But these are like classic ones that people love to throw out. And if you know what it is and you know about your position, you could easily speak to and discredit or debunk what he's saying. But we shall see. And I can't get this chat up for the life of me. I don't know why, but let's go ahead.
I'm a strong proponent of the Second Amendment. I believe the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's the one right that's listed in the Constitution that uses that very specific affirmative language, shall not be infringed.
Well, it's also the one right that uses the phrase well-regulated.
Correct, when it's talking about the militia and the state.
By the way, just for clarity's sake,
yeah.
I'm not against the Second Amendment. I'm not against, I don't want to ban guns. But you're saying more guns makes us more safe.
Yes.
So when we got 400 million guns in the country, we had an increase and gun deaths went up. So when exactly does this curve hit that takes it down? Would 1 billion guns do it?
Let's just run those numbers, 400 million, 50,000. You're talking about less than a fraction of, not even a percent of 100.
Okay, so he says 400 million. So let me get these numbers out here, because it was kind of unclear, but I knew what those numbers were when they were talking about it. They're estimating because they don't know, but we're estimating that there's about 400 million guns in the United States. 400 million. Now, 50,000, that is the number of gun deaths, gun-related deaths in society. Okay? Now, here's the thing that a lot of people don't know and they don't mention about that, and why they just throw that number out. But to Jon Stewart's point, I wouldn't say it either if I was arguing his point of view. But for people who are gun rights or pro-gun, you gotta know this. Every time you hear the number that 50,000, always know that half of those are suicides. And that's the thing he didn't catch. He didn't understand that. And he didn't, I mean, the minute somebody mentions that 50,000, I just lick my lips on that. Yeah, let me eat that up real quick. Well, you know half of those are those are suicides. Those are people who have taken their own lives. Now, here's the other part to that, because they say, but a life is important. Yes, but most people that take their lives, they just use the gun as a tool. It doesn't stop them from taking their lives, because if they didn't have a gun, they would hang themselves, they would jump off of a building, they would walk into traffic, they would walk in front of a train. They would do it a multitude of ways. Suicide is a suicide. That's just what it is. So we let these people who are anti-gun try to argue this point, and they do, because it's one of the few that they have to even speak on. But when they do it, you have to counter it with that. Most of that 50,000 are suicides. So this is not a thing to where, oh, he's shooting at me and I'm shooting at him. We killing each other and killing innocents on. This is not that. All right? So you take that number right there and you cut it down to at least maybe you can take a good 20,000 of those off and say, hey, these are suicides. So we're really talking about 30,000 out of how many people are in America? 330 million or some shit like that. So when you think about it, that's like 1%, if that, or whatever. Somebody get a goddamn calculator out. It's 330 something million or 320 million Americans people in America. You take that 30,000 gun deaths and tell me what that percentage is. Okay? So it's not like we have a gun violence pandemic going on. No. The other part to that is that the gun violence, it would still be relative. If there were no guns, then it would be knives. Look at France. They actually have a knife violence problem. It's a fact. Stabbings are through the roof. So it's not a thing of saying, well, we got to stop the guns because if we stop the guns, we save lives. No, that's not what you would do. Because if it wasn't guns, it would be knives. If it wasn't knives, it'd be rocks. If it wasn't rocks, it'd be sticks. If it wasn't sticks, it'd be stones. It would be something. It would be swords. So you have to put that into perspective and know that when somebody says something like that to you, how to counter that. So don't give me inflated numbers, sir.
Of a percent.
But it goes up, not down. So your argument is backwards.
But if you
No,
okay, so
it's not.
so let's come up with a solution. Okay, so one of the issues, a contributing factor, again, I believe it's the individual that is the problem.
So your solution to that is give them more guns.
So here's what he said. Thank you, Teluvian. Appreciate it. Teluvian came up with the actual percentage. 0.0009% of the population suffer from gun violence. So even looking at that number, that 30,000 or whatever you want, we're going to say that it is, out of that 30,000, you got more people that die from cancer. You get more people that die from automobile accidents. I think automobile accidents is like 46,000. You have people that die from other things. You have people like, and he's going to even mention it. He talks about obesity and all of that. There's no control on that now, is it? Nobody's going to sue McDonald's and Burger King and Taco Bell and all of these other fast food companies. Nobody's suing these companies that are using things like, oh, I don't know, high fructose corn syrup. Our addiction to sugar alone, just sugar, and the misappropriation of that lets you know, or should let you know, what's the bigger threat in our society. Do you know how many people are dying because of obesity, high blood pressure? Y'all do know, like, the manufactured iodized salt that is pretty much all chemicals? I don't even eat that shit anymore. I've been off that shit for about maybe 8 to 10 years. Yeah, you know the little regular table salt that y'all buy? Yeah, that's nothing but chemicals. That's why motherfuckers have high blood pressure, because they eating that shit as opposed to like real salt, which is like pink Himalayan sea salt. That's real salt. That shit you buying with the little red, the little white bitch with the little raincoat on, the Mortons with the little yellow raincoat on and the umbrella. Yeah, that bitch done kill way more motherfuckers than guns. That bitch got a lot of blood on her hands. And nobody's stopping them. Nobody's regulating them. So it's not a thing of just saying, oh, we got to do this to save lives. That's not what this agenda's about. Because there are way bigger fish to fry than to talk about guns. But let's continue.
I'm saying that because people are the problem, we need to look at the problems that those people are facing and how do we address it.
But you've removed the ability for the state to do that.
No, because you're...
If you don't have background checks and you don't have registration and permitting, how do you know who has a problem in terms of the people who you're giving a gun to?
Do you want to talk about the background checks first, or do you want to talk...
I don't know why they always say this. And here's one of the things that you instantly say because this is the playbook here that he's running. He's running the playbook. He's talked about the 50,000 and then he's moved to the registration. Background checks do exist. They do exist. I don't know why they keep saying that they don't, but they do. However, here's the thing, and here's what they want to do with the background checks. They want to make a universal database, not a background check, because a background check occurs. They want, and you can go to prove this point, take your ass to any gun store and say, I want to buy a gun. What do I have to do? And I promise you, you will have to go through that part. But that's not what they're trying to do. They want a registry database. They want to know that John Q. Smith not only has a gun, but he has 4, he has 6, he has 8. And here are the serial numbers and here are the model numbers of those guns. And the point is this. If the government doesn't know how many knives I have in my house, why would they need to know how many guns that I have in my house? Because if you're talking about, well, you know, this could be something mentally wrong with this person. He could kill his wife or kill his girlfriend because, you know, domestic violence is rampant. Yup. So instead of me shooting my wife, I'm stabbing her. Point is, I'm getting to the same result. She's dead. Are we really going to debate the tool and the manner in which she dies? Or are we trying to address what it is that's driving someone to want to commit that crime? And when you're talking about committing a crime like murder, you tell me when, where, and how murder has ever been stopped. I'll wait. It hasn't. And it won't. It's inevitable. It is a part of humanity. It's a part of, not just in America, in the world, Craig. The world. And here's the other thing. I know this is gonna sound really, this is gonna be shocking. I know some people haven't heard this before, but I gotta tell you this. And I know this is something new that just came about. The world is not safe. The world is not a safe place. The world is a very, very dangerous place. Period. No matter where you are, whether I'm on the south side of Chicago or I'm in the deep jungle of Taiwan, the world is a very dangerous place. So this isn't a thing to where guns are making the world unsafe. No. You know who's making the world, or what's making the world unsafe? People. So unless you're going to eliminate everybody in the fucking world, or you're going to lock up everybody in the fucking world, there's no way for you to ever, we're going to make it to where everybody's safe and everybody can go outside, and it'll never happen. Just saying. I think I want a cigar. Hang on.
Solutions first.
I want to talk about what you're doing is you're bringing chaos to order.
That's your subjective opinion that it's bringing chaos to order.
It's not my subjective opinion. We have 50,000 gun-related deaths. That's not a subjective opinion.
Okay, so
that's dead people. Let me back up for a second. In every other place in your life, you want to bring order, but guns are the outlier for you. So let's start with immigration. You want registration, maybe a wall, maybe not a wall. Why do you want that?
Well, one of the reasons is
And here's my thing. When they talk about you saying you're bringing chaos to order, there is no order. When you're talking about violence, it's not saying, oh, we either have violence or we have order. No, you're talking about gun violence. So you're talking about either people being civil or people being uncivil. It's like I talk about the savage. You can't reason with a savage. That's just what it is. When you talk about the Crusades, what was that? You had supposedly the Christians who were supposedly civil going up against the heathens, the savages. And what did they do with those people? Did they have a diplomatic approach as to how they dealt with the savage? Did they sit down at a table and talk with the savage during the Crusades? Or did they make bigger and better swords? Did they have better strategy, war tactics? They slaughtered them. This thing that we have here, and I don't understand why so many people don't like to acknowledge what it is, especially my liberal brothers and sisters. This land that we're on, this experiment that you want to call America, the United States, this came with a heavy price of bloodshed. The fact that we get to sit here and speak the way we speak, go the places that we go, and say the things that we say, there was a tremendous amount of blood shed to be able to do this. And furthermore, there was a tremendous amount of military that it takes to maintain it. Do y'all realize that if we didn't have the guns and the weaponry that we have now today, that, maybe somebody like, I don't know, pick somebody who don't like us, China would just come and just take this shit over? Do y'all realize that? Someplace, maybe like, I don't know, North Korea would just come and take this shit over? If they could. So this whole thing and this whole idea where you want to get rid of guns and only the military should have it. Man, if it was only left up to that, then we wouldn't be able to defend what it is that we have. Because the same people that you want to take guns out of those hands of those people are the same ones whose forefathers came over to actually make sure that we were able to do what it is that we do today. So it's like, I find it very hard to, I find it quite odd that we have this thing to where these people, they just are so nonchalant with their freedom to where they don't want to acknowledge the price that was paid for it. Because this shit didn't come for free. It didn't come for the nothing, for the free 99. And for the free 99. There was plenty of bloodshed in order for us to be able to do what it is that we're doing today. So don't make it seem like it's just, oh, well, if we could just be more civilized, we would be able to just take care of this and just, hey, this is a simple fix. Yeah, right. That's the shit Barack Obama says. We just make sense gun laws, right? Says the motherfucker who got a gang of people surrounding him with fucking MP5s and fucking P90s. It's ridiculous.
Fentanyl crisis.
Right.
I mean, okay, but
And you don't know when it's coming across. So what do you
but
do?
the fentanyl crisis is twice what the gun death crisis is.
Okay, so until the gun crisis gets
No.
to the fentanyl level,
Not until it.
you don't want to bring order.
No, not until it. But
But you
if we're
see
gonna
my
talk-
point.
How is it that we have a thing to where it's out of order, and what you're basically talking about is that you want to control who has guns? We can't even control who uses drugs, and drugs are already illegal. Do you see the false sense of reality that some of these people have? How long have drugs been illegal? Cocaine has never been legal. Marijuana, just till recently, became legal. Heroin. Even at one point in time when alcohol was illegal. When did we ever have order brought to it? It wasn't. All it did was create another illegal enterprise for people to make more money off of it. Y'all do realize that the reason why they won't legalize drugs is not because, oh, well, if we legalize drugs, everybody would just be using cocaine and using heroin. People are still using cocaine and heroin. That shit ain't gonna change. The problem with legalizing drugs is the impact it would have on our infrastructure and our society, because it would destroy our criminal justice system. That's why. Hank Johnson said, I'm all for, but I don't think, he says, I'm all for Second Amendment rights and all that, but I do think we need a bit stricter laws with them. Stricter laws, how? I love this question. Stricter laws, how? Then he says it's logistically virtually impossible for China or anyone to invade us based on our geographical location alone. When I was a Marine, we simulated any and all scenarios, and it's logistically improbable. That don't mean that won't nobody try. And you're saying logistically impossible. That's not true. You get enough people. It was logistically improbable for us to go and storm the beach at Normandy. Motherfuckers did it. It's not a thing of saying when you're talking. See, this is one of those things to where you have to understand that when you are at war, when you are when you're fighting for something like land, when you're fighting for something like freedom, when you think about those things, it is that group or those people that will do the thing that you think is impossible to do or improbable to do or probably ain't the best thing to do. That will be that thing that happens to where you say, well, goddamn, this is what happened. This is what they did, and this is how they got it. There's always a way to skin a cat. trust and believe. Ask the British. They came over to this motherfucker, didn't they? Just saying. Look at what Japan did with them motherfucking bombs over at, just look at what they did to fucking Hawaii. And it's not about saying, oh, we just gonna take all our boats and we gonna take all these people and we just gonna come over here and just hit Miami Beach. No, that's not how it works. It's strongholds. That's why we ain't letting go of Hawaii. That's why we got the islands. That's why we holding on and making sure a motherfucker don't just go and take over a Cuba. That's why you make sure that those other little stop-off points don't get taken over, because that's exactly what's needed to happen in order for someone to have a foothold. Not to mention, in today's world, if somebody actually went to war, I guess you ain't never seen Kim Jong over there firing off these rockets and these missiles. It's not a thing to where it's, oh, this is just a logical way to do it. Sometimes you're just gonna say, let's just devastate these motherfuckers and let's go from there. What would happen if you did get a China to come and just say, hey, let's partner up with Mexico? Just saying. So it's like, this shit is chess, goddammit. There's strategic points that you want on this motherfucker. And thank you for bringing that up, because I'm just about to hit that. There's certain things that you need to do and that you want to do, because it's not just about having a 300,000 boots on the ground. We should have learned that from 9/11. Them buildings coming down stopped some shit for a few days, didn't it? That pandemic stopped some shit for a few days, didn't it? There's a lot that goes into taking over a country, or having a country to crumble, or destroying a country. You don't just want to do it with guns and bombs. You want to do it from an infrastructure piece too. Shit can happen, but it's not likely to happen anytime soon, but it could. That's why we have bases throughout the whole world. Only way we get attacked, we get attacked, us a 9/11 type attack. Kim Jong can't reach us. He's close, but not quite. The fact that you say not quite means all he needs to do is make a few chess moves, and there you have it. Look at Russia and Ukraine. It's not about just saying you can't. It's about saying what it takes to do it. And if you get the right pieces in place, you can do it. You absolutely can do it. So it's a thing that you always have to keep that in mind. This shit ain't just, oh, it'll never happen. Look at Troy. Look at Troy. Motherfuckers thought they had that shit sold up. Yeah, we got their ass. All them bitch ass niggas left. And they left us a gift. A gift of peace. Yeah, all right. It was impossible. It was impossible for them to get inside of Troy. That's what they said. That's what they thought. That's what they believed, right? What did the motherfuckers decide to do? Hey, I know this gonna sound crazy, but here's a way that if this works, we win. What y'all want to do? How bad do y'all want to win? Right, the sum of all fears. But them motherfuckers in Troy say how bad we want to win. Well, if we build this motherfucking Trojans and we build this horse, they could just burn the motherfucker down. Yeah, they could. And we all die. But if they take this motherfucker in, we got their ass. And there you have it. It just takes the right things to have, just like even in that movie Troy. Achilles was like, man, fuck y'all. I'm fucking bitches. I ain't got nothing to do with none of this shit. Nope. I ain't got nothing to do. Nope. I ain't about to go to war over no bitch. Ain't my bitch. Nope. Me and my Merriman, we staying right here. We ain't got nothing to do with that. Y'all do what y'all do. Agamemnon, you and your boys, I don't get no fuck. Until what? The right motherfucker got killed at the wrong time. And there you go. Next thing you know, that motherfucker out there chanting for Hector. Hector, bring your bitch ass out here. We got a motherfucking a misunderstanding. We got to get resolved. Let's go.
If we're going to talk about protecting lives, that's a larger issue in America
Yes.
than guns is. If we're talking about individual lives
Yes.
of ways that they can be protected, loss of life in America, there's loss of life through fentanyl. There's loss of life through obesity. The obesity crisis in America costs 6 times the number of lives as guns.
Right, and
so,
you're the guy saying, you know what would help this? Ice cream.
no. So, you know what would help?
So he said, if by that logic, then the campaign would say, or the reasoning behind that would be, okay, well, since we know that obesity is a problem, no more ice cream for nobody? Everybody only gets a certain amount of food. Because that's essentially what he's saying. If you want to bring chaos to order, if you want to bring order to chaos, John, then that's exactly what you're saying. You want to regulate food. You want to regulate portions because that's what causes obesity. It's the food and what's in it, and it's the portion control. So more food regulation, more food control. That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying, as opposed to him not acknowledging that sometimes you have to listen to what somebody's saying. And then especially when they're trying to compare it to the topic and give it right back to them. You know who I learned that from? Tommy Sotomayor. Because that's exactly what I would have told him. I said, okay, so then you're saying, if you're telling me that the answer to obesity is to give more ice cream, which is just facetious. Because number one, ice cream isn't the sole problem with obesity. But let's just say that it is. You're saying you want to regulate ice cream. And you want to control ice cream for everybody. How does that work? Everybody has to register for ice cream. Everybody has to have a registration card. And every time that you go and you get ice cream, you must be a valid ice cream eater. Your registration has to be up to date. And we have to know how much ice cream you're getting and how much ice cream you've had so that we can control how much ice cream you get. Everybody only gets 1 gallon of ice cream per year. That's the safest amount that any one person can have to where it is not an issue for there to suffer from any type of obesity or traits of obesity or not traits, but comorbidities of obesity. Right, so you got a ration card. And we're going to do that across the board, right? No, you're not going to allow that, are you? Why? Because it's your right to choose what you eat. Just like it's your right to choose what you smoke. Everybody and their mama know that cigarettes will kill you. Everybody and their mama knows that chewing tobacco will give you cancer. But you can still go buy that shit for $5.99, can't you? You can still, even in Chicago, a pack of cigarettes might cost your ass $15, but you can sure enough go buy it. You can surely go buy it. Isn't it something how the government who knows without a shadow of a doubt of something that will kill you, that they won't ban it, they'll only say, well, we'll just tax it and we'll make more money off of it so we can do the other shit we want to do. Isn't that something? Where's the order in that chaos? There isn't any. Just like you have the freedom to buy whatever you want, you got the freedom to shovel in your fucking mouth whatever you want, you got the freedom to eat, smoke, and drink whatever the fuck you want. I should have the right to choose whatever type of weapon that I want to defend my life and the life of my loved ones. And I don't need the government telling me how and the way in which I could do that.
The problem that we're facing with firearms.
What?
The fatherlessness crisis that we have in America. If you look at the statistics.
Right. Yeah, they're dying.
Bing bong.
Great point. This is the best point he made in this entire debate. And let me tell you why. Because he's now talking about the problem and the solution to the problem. And watch and listen as to how Jon Stewart literally glosses right over it, but he doesn't hold him to it. He doesn't hold his feet to the fire on that topic to say, well, you got to tell me something about what it is that I'm saying, because that makes sense. I have statistical data, and I've actually made a very valid point. Why are you just moving past that when you're trying to bring, and I get this back to him the whole time, order to chaos? Who does that better than men? Who does that better than fathers? Nobody.
From gun deaths.
80%
Yeah.
of school shooters either came from a broken or fatherless home.
There's a fact that proves it.
So you would say no guns for fatherless homes?
No, that's not what I would say.
Oh.
I would say that fathers need to be more engaged.
Great. So let's
crime with
let's
a firearm
put
if they don't have a father in
Let's put
the
more
home.
resources into areas that are poverty-stricken. All for it.
And into
Isn't that something? And this is what I mean when I talk about the Hollywood bubble. Isn't it something how he just automatically equates fatherless homes to poverty-stricken communities? Oh, so it ain't no single mothers in middle America. Oh, okay. I guess the only people that are in child support court, the only people that are going to divorce court, the fact that we have what percentage of marriages are being and divorce? What's our percentage of divorce in our country? The fact that we have over 50% of our divorce, no, it's higher than that, I believe. I want to say it's, is it 60? But whatever, it's more than half. Our divorce rate. The fact that that's a problem. He's saying that, all those are just poor people that are doing that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here's my thing. He didn't even catch it. The senator didn't, because he might be privileged enough to where it's not an issue for him, and he don't know. But you only think that fatherless homes are in low-income housing. Only niggas do that. There's only black folks and poor white trash that have that problem. Yeah, we don't. So I mean, hey, we'll allocate more resources. You see how nonchalantly he passed that on? Not saying, hey, let's incentivize families and incentivize fathers being in the home. Nope, won't touch that with a 10-foot pole, will he? Won't touch that with a 10-foot pole, will he? Gloss right past that. We'll just allocate more resources for that. Well, if it was that simple, Mr. Stewart, why hasn't it been done? Because it's not.
and that's something that we're doing.
Why
in
would
Oklahoma. Percent
Yeah.
of
Watch
school
this.
shooters
It just
either came from a
that pissed
broken
me
or
off.
fatherless home. If
So you
look
would say no
comparative-
guns for fatherless homes?
No, that's not what.
And you see how stupid that sounds? How would you even do that? No guns for fatherless homes. Also, fuck all the women who would now just no guns for fatherless homes would mean all single mothers cannot own firearms. So basically what he's saying is that a woman can't own a firearm. That's what he's trying to insinuate. That's what he's saying. I would think that that's maybe a little, I don't know, misogyny. That's what he's essentially saying. Like, how stupid is that? He's literally just being disingenuous at this point because it doesn't support his narrative. And this is the problem that I have with so many people that are on this side of the ball game. Leftists, Democrats, whatever you want to call it. I don't give a fuck how you group it. When you have a conversation with someone and all they want to do is belittle the points that you make, and they're disingenuous with the responses, this is why we can't get nowhere. Because he believes that his way is not just the way, but it's the only way. And if you don't agree with me and what I'm saying, then it's just something wrong with you and you just don't care about people.
I would say that fathers need to be more engaged.
Great. So let's
with a firearm if they don't have a father in the
Let's put more
home.
resources into areas that are poverty-stricken. All for it.
And into fatherlessness, and that's something that we're doing.
But
in
why, with
Oklahoma.
guns, are you against bringing order?
I'm not against bringing order.
You are. You're also making it less safe.
And here's my thing. Ask the question, what is out of order? Because if he's going to talk about 50,000 people being dead is out of order, bro, statistically, you're incorrect. Statistically, he's incorrect. Take the emotion out of it. Take the humanity out of it. Let's take all of that out of it. Let's just look at the data. If he's saying that gun violence is a situation where order needs to be brought to chaos, then he's statistically incorrect. It's less than 1%. It's less than 1%, sir. So this is not a problem to where it's out of order. You may want it to be more controlled, but it is not out of order.
Cops and for people. When the police go to a domestic call, it's the most dangerous call they can go on.
Mm-hmm.
In your world, if they knew that there were firearms in the house, that's a safer call. Is that what you're...
And here's the thing. Now he's trying to make the point of saying that guns being around, and if everybody has guns, that every place is now safer. That is not what he's saying. That is not the point. Because the same thing of just saying, because my thing is this. So if you ban guns, now you're going to ban knives? So I can't cut my steak no more in my house? Because if there's ever a domestic dispute and the police come, they're in danger because I got a knife in the house. That one or that 20 different knives that I have in my house, same thing.
saying?
No, because police...
Because why?
Because police treat every situation as a potential...
But more guns makes us safer. So why don't, when the police go to a house filled with guns, why don't they breathe a sigh of relief?
Because those are criminals in there when the police are called to those homes. Because just like right now, there are guns in this house and the police are not here. And here's the other thing. If the police do have to come here, what say that the fact that that gun in this house allows me to protect myself? I can't wait for the police to get here to stop the home invader, can I? Because I'll be dead. And yeah, by the time the police get here, they'll still be safe because the person who killed me and my family, they're gone. The fucking psychopath that came in and slit all of myself and all of our throats in our sleep while we were sleeping at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, when he broke in, I couldn't stop him because he had a fucking chef's knife and he slit my fucking throat and slit my wife's throat and then he killed my children. Yeah, I couldn't stop him because I didn't have a gun. But I guess when the police get here, they'll be safe. You see how you missed that point, Nathan? It's not a thing, and you should have derailed and debunked the fact that he's trying to say that you're saying that guns make us safer. No, guns, everybody having a gun, or everybody having the right to have a gun, it gives us a better tool to protect ourselves so that if our lives are in danger, we have a better chance of survival. That's what a gun is for. That's what gun control is for, because there is no one, and I mean no one, on this entire planet that is responsible for your personal safety but you. And how is it that you or the government should tell me how I protect myself? How is it that you or the government get to instruct and govern me on how I get to protect my life? I don't get to tell you how much money you get to make. I don't get to tell you how much money you get to keep. I don't get to tell you what you get to spend your money on. Why should you have any control or any say as to what gun I have, how many guns I have to protect and preserve my life and those of my loved ones? That's what you should have said.
Knowing that this Second Amendment that shall not be infringed is being exercised so fruitfully in this home.
Are you familiar with the 39-year-old woman in New Jersey?
I'm familiar with a ton of anecdotes.
Yeah.
I'm asking you a simple question.
This is not an anecdote,
When the
John.
police...
How is it that that's an anecdote? Do you see what I mean by the disingenuousness? He has a point that he can make. He has a valid point that he can make, which, and all I'm saying is that this is the other side of the coin as to why your way, Jon Stewart, is not the way. It is literally a thread being pulled at the fabric of freedom. And that's what you want to do because you're scared, or those that support your position are scared. That's what you want to do because you think you living in your Hollywood bubble, you living in your bubble of fantasy and safety. You believe that if we just got rid of them, we'd all be okay. That's not how the real world works, which is something you are far removed from, sir. You, your other Hollywood friends, and all of your other political friends, y'all are so far removed from the realities and the violence and the actual dangers of this world that's why you want an easy way out. And the easy way out is never the easy way out.
This actually happened.
Go to a house.
She had a restraining order on her ex-boyfriend.
I
of an
can run
individual.
through
I know, we can both run
hundreds
through
and
that.
hundreds of examples of women killed by their domestic partners by guns that were not taken away through the lessening of red flag laws. You're pivoting.
And here's the thing. Why would the gun, because what he's saying is this, and this is where you should have came right back at him and say, okay, well, are you saying that if the gun had been taken away, that person would still be alive? And if he would have said yes, boom, landmine, perfect. Because then you would be safe to say that all of the women or all of the domestic violence that occurs where people are stabbed to death, well, if we took away the knives, John, they would still be alive. Now, let him be foolish enough to say, well, yeah, you're right. Because then I'll say, then why don't you start there? Get all the knives out of the home. Get all the knives registered. Have it to where if you have a domestic dispute one time, all of your knives are confiscated and you're no longer allowed to own or possess or be in a house where there are knives. You or the woman. Just like that white girl who killed that brother a few months back. Stabbed his ass in the jungle. That wasn't with a gun. It was domestic violence though, right? Yup. So had there, by his logic, had there been order brought to knife usage and there'd been knife control, then that couple would still be together, or that man would still be alive because she wouldn't have had a knife in order to stab him. Right. Fuck cooking, eating, fuck all that. And the reason why I compare, here's why I compare that so you can use this as well. The reason why I compare the gun to knife thing, it's because guns are used for more than just killing people. They are used for hunting and they are used for protecting people. Just like a knife can be used to kill someone, it can also be used to cut up your food to feed yourself. It can also be used to dress an animal. Hell, in some cases, a butter knife can be used to drive a screw. That's the point. You making the argument of saying if there were no guns, there would be no deaths. It's stupid. because you don't see anybody trying to take cars off the street or make it to where cars can only go 25 miles an hour. Or is it 20 miles an hour? I think it's 20. It's either I think it's 20 miles an hour or it's under 30. It's one of those where if you get hit by a car that was under that speed limit, I think it's either 30 or 20 miles an hour. Then it's like the chances of you dying are like slim to none. You might get scraped up or fucked up or get a concussion or something, but the chances of you dying being hit by a car that I think is less than 30 miles or less than 20 miles, something like that. It's like an insane survival rate. But knowing that fact, why wouldn't we make it to where all cars you got to drive 20 miles an hour? Well, it's going to take me 18 hours to get there. Hey, we're bringing order to chaos. We've got to stop these automobile deaths. You got what? Some 30,000 people dying every year in car wrecks? If everybody's on the highway driving 30 miles an hour, you would still have accidents, but people wouldn't die. Right? Right. Either that or we get back on horses. Everybody ride horseback. Yes. Great. Boy, I'm telling you, I would love to debate your ass on this. Hank says, but what do you need to drive a car? A license, passing a test, registered documentation. You are so correct. And you know why you need those things? It's because driving is a privilege. Guns, that's a right, baby. Hey, just like, actually, he's going to make that argument. Watch this.
Anecdotes.
No, this is not anecdotes.
What the police say. If we had gun registration, if we were able to track purchases, they have a technology that every bullet would be stamped with an individual like a fingerprint. If we had an ATF that wasn't defunded, we would be able to enforce gun laws more effectively, and we would be able to solve gun crimes more effectively. You're against all of that.
Boom. Let me knock that down. Let me tee up on that. So, you're saying you'd be able to solve more if you had it, you would be able. The reason why you want a registry, and here's what I'm gonna say, and this is the thing that they always say after you say this. So, I'm gonna tell you why they want a gun registry, why they want a universal gun registry, why they want to know who got what guns. It's so that they can confiscate them. And everybody, every time I say that, you know what everybody says? Oh, that ain't gonna happen. That'll never happen. See, that's just your mentality, man. The government can't do that. Bullshit. And here's why I'm gonna say that. That's exactly what that leads to. It leads to confiscation because the other countries that have done this, i.e. Germany, i.e. Australia, i.e. Venezuela, 3 other instances where this has happened, and it's getting ready to happen in Canada. Oh, Canada. They're going to do it there. You just watch. It's so that they can confiscate the guns. I can't take anything that I don't know that you have. So what do I have to do? I have to get you to tell me what you got. It's just like fucking taxes. If I can find out how much money you make, then I can find out how much money I can take. That's why you fill out W-2s. That's why governments have companies report how much they pay you. That's the whole purpose of W-2s. That's just like what they did with the fucking Cash App, PayPal. We want to know how much you motherfuckers are making, so we're going to make the banks tell us. That's why you can't have a money transfer that is less than $9,999 that gets made without being, so it has to be reported to the government so that they know when large sums of money are being moved. It's a fact. You're not going to sit and tell me that something that has happened on 3 other occasions in 3 separate countries that are much smaller than this one, that are less powerful than this one, that the same thing would not happen to us. Hitler said the same bullshit I'm going to make it safer for everyone. Tell me what guns you have, and I'll make it safer. Next thing you know, gun gone. And now, y'all motherfuckers gonna do what the fuck I say. Let the right begin. Yup. Now, when he's talking about this other thing of, if we had this, we could solve more crimes. If we had a beefed up ATF, we could go ahead and we could enforce more gun laws. Here's the problem with the ATF. The ATF, they're making fucking gun laws on a fucking whim, and they flip-flopping on what's a legal gun and what's an illegal gun on a daily basis, damn near, to the point to where they would still find a way to confiscate what you have. Well, look, you can have a gun, but it can't have a trigger. It can't have more than 2 bullets in it, and it can't have no magazines, and it can't have nothing less than a 2-inch barrel. That's what they would do. They would literally take it and make all of these rules to where you can't have it, which is why the shit says it shall not be infringed. That means fucked with in any way. I keep telling motherfuckers, just because the fucking forefathers was back several hundred years ago, don't mean that they were fucking stupid. They had no clue on where guns would evolve to, granted, but they knew what guns were used for, and that's why they wrote it the way that they did. That's why you don't see shall not be infringed on the 4th Amendment, on the 5th Amendment, on the 6th Amendment, on the 3rd Amendment, on the 13th Amendment. There is no shall not be infringed. Niggas is free and it shall not be infringed. That ain't on there, is it? Which means niggas get locked up and put back in chains again. That's why this is written that way. And that's why they said, look, this is a law that y'all don't fuck with. Ever. Ever. That's why we gonna leave this one. We'll leave this one alone. Y'all can they wrote the amendment the way that they did it. They wrote it that way so that it could never be misinterpreted. That's why they wrote it that way. And that's what we tend to do when we want to manipulate situations. We want to, well, I think the interpretation of it meant this. Well, they were only talking about muskets. At that time, a musket was the shit. You ain't get no better gun than no musket. So if right now the best gun is a fucking phaser or a fucking laser or phaser. Lasers are Star Wars, phasers are Star Trek. Whichever one, that's exactly what the fuck they're talking about. A phaser or laser is the same as a fucking musket. Because just like they weren't thinking about, we could have 50,000 gun deaths in a year. It wasn't even 50,000 motherfuckers over here. From over there. But that's exactly why they wrote it the way that they did. So that you would never be able to fuck with it. But then getting back to this, we could have more police and you want to solve more crimes? Hire more police. You want to prevent more crimes? Have more police in the streets. Instead of defunding the police, dickwads, why don't you fund the police? Better train the police. Provide better tools for the police. Then they would be able to solve more crimes. Then they would have the tools to enforce the laws that are currently in place. That's the response to that. Not, well, if we had more control and more ATF, we could solve this. Bullshit. Jon Stewart don't know shit about crime, and he don't know shit about law enforcement. And he don't know shit about what it takes to make the streets safe. Police make the streets safe. That's what makes the streets safe. Having, not I don't know, maybe make sense fucking prosecution, fucking justice system. Anytime you got it to where a fucking Kim Fox can put people back out on the street before they even get fucking charged for the fucking crime that they committed, they back out committing another crime, then no, you're not gonna have safe streets.
The person is the threat, not the firearm, not the knife.
I get it.
The person and the individual is the one that is the concern here.
But you don't want anything that could help law enforcement or society determine whether or not a person is a good guy with a gun or a bad guy with a gun.
Great fucking point to just, you could just bomb this. Because I would have said, well, what's in place in society now that determines who's a good or bad anything? There is nothing you can put in place to determine if you a good guy with a gun or if you a bad guy with a gun. That is one of the most dumbest fucking questions I don't know how he let that shit go by. Well, we need to have something in place to determine if you a good one or if you's a bad one. What? What the fuck do you put in place to determine that? That isn't subjective. Tell me what could be put in place to determine if a person is a good whatever or a bad whatever. Credit score? That's what we're going to use? Social media following? Hey, he has 17 million followers. He's a good person. Let him go through. He would never do that. He's an influencer. How stupid is that? There is nothing in existence that determines if somebody's a good whatever versus a bad whatever. There's no law that determines that. There's no regulation that determines that. Oh, well, he pays his bills on time, Well, you pay your bills on time. You have a pretty good score, Mr. Ted Bundy. So we think we're just going to let you go ahead and be the headmaster of this all-girls school. See how that turns out in 2 weeks. Yeah, Mr. Dahmer, you have a 900 credit score. That's great. I think we will go ahead and put you in charge of the boys' elementary school. I'm sorry, the boys' high school, and we'll let you just pretty much run things the way you see fit. Right, versus your church attendance. Oh, you haven't missed a Sunday in 14 years. Oh, he's definitely a good person. Good Christian man. It's like, what are you talking about? You know how stupid that is? You know how stupid of a statement that is? And Senator Nathan Dahm let him get off with that? I would have laughed in his face. I'd have said, ha! You tell me what system that's already in place that determines if someone is a good person, a good whatever versus a bad. Please enlighten me. I'd love to hear this, John, because this must be a fucking joke.
Most
The
even law
registry
enforcement.
would allow you to have much more effective background checks. So I don't understand.
What? A registry would allow you to have much more effective background checks. How, Sway? How? How would a registry allow me to have more effective background checks? A background check is a background check. That's just what the fuck it is. And the only thing that can determine if I should or should not have a gun is my criminal history. Have I been locked the fuck up before, or have I been committed? Am I crazy or am I criminal? If I can't check one of them boxes, you can't stop me from getting a gun. Why? Because it's my right. Shit is stupid.
Why you won't just admit that you are making it harder for police to manage the streets by allowing all of these guns to go out without permits, without checks, and without background stuff.
And here's the thing, and I would have gave him this. Well, what you're saying about permits and background checks, that's anecdotal. Most of the people that get these, the majority of the people, upwards of 95% of the people that buy guns, they get them from gun shops. So what you're talking about, the ones who don't do that, that's anecdotal. So we're not going to even talk about that. Right? Right. It's anecdotal. It's so few and far and in between. It's not how most people get their guns. Most people get their guns from a gun store, which means they have a background check, which means they're not a criminal, which means that they're not crazy. So there you go. What the fuck are we going to have people take? An angry test now, from now on? Well, now, if you get angry, you can't have no gun now. Because you could. No. It's like, no. You can't do that. It makes no sense. And what he's trying to say, the police would be so much better off if we just, had a registry. And the police ain't going to solve no crimes faster. What the fuck? This going to help them, establish pre-crime? Saw how that shit worked out? Right, Bad Hombre says, so why are people angry enough to kill? It's like, yes, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to pre-crime this shit, dude. And you're trying to tell me that having more gun laws is like pre-crime. It's not. It's not. Everybody and their mama know what's legal and illegal when it comes to using a gun. Period. Ask John Morant.
Why is that hard? Why can't you just stand by that?
Because that's not what I'm doing. I'm defending the individual's right to keep and bear arms.
That's a different argument.
Okay, but
here's what I'm saying.
No, it's not. Because, and this is what he should have said and he didn't. He's saying, you're saying that you're for the Second Amendment, but you're not. You want to tell me what I can and can't have that I already possess as a right. Case in point, and this is to where this is a whole society change. Just like how you try to tell me that we have freedom of speech, but you're still trying to tell me what I can and can't say. Ain't that about a bitch? Oh yes, First Amendment right. You have freedom of speech, but you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't say this, and you can't say that. That's the same thing they're trying to do with guns. Oh yes, we're a Second Amendment country. You can have guns, but you can't have this kind, can't have that kind, can't have this kind, can't have that kind, can't have this kind, you can't have that kind, and you definitely can't have that kind, or that kind, or that kind, or that kind. Here, take this musket, and there's your Second Amendment. Sir, ma'am, any questions? I don't know how to load it, but yes, that's the rule. That's what he's saying. And that's what he should have came right back at him with. Imagine if somebody told you that you couldn't use the fucking words the, is, a, it. Nope, can't use those. Why? Because they're offensive, they ain't hurt people. And we're bringing order to chaos. Don't use those words anymore. But, you can still practice your freedom of speech. It's a fucking contradiction directly. You're trying to tell me that I can do something, but you're trying to tell me how I can do it. No, that's not freedom. That's fucking control, dickwad. And that's exactly why they say shall not be infringed. Because what you can say today, you couldn't say yesterday. What you can say tomorrow, you can't say today. Well, I mean, what you can't say today, you can't say tomorrow. And so on and so forth. You do realize that there was a time where a motherfucker could actually say nigga on national television. The regular TV. Fred Sanford and them and Richard Pryor and them was saying nigga on TV. Can't say that shit now, can you? Nope. That's the point.
You want to say I'm a Second Amendment purist and I'm making it safer. You're not. You're making it more chaotic. And that's not a matter of opinion. That's the truth.
That is a matter of opinion, John.
But
It absolutely is a matter of opinion. Define chaotic. Define chaos. He never asked him that. He said, do you realize that you're sitting here trying to tell me what you believe is chaos? And you're trying to use that as the standard to say where the line is as what's chaotic and what's not? You do understand that's what you're telling me, John, right? And you want me to agree with that? I can't.
I take away their tools.
Because certain of their tools that they're using would be infringements upon the people's right to keep and bear arms, upon their constitutional rights, upon due
So you're
process,
saying
upon other things.
that registering is an infringement?
Yes,
Okay. Is voting a right?
it's a right for citizens, yes.
Do you have to do anything to do it?
Yes,
What do you have to do?
it depends on the state.
And here's where Nathan fucked up. Here's the thing, when you're debating, when there's an obvious point that's being made, you acknowledge it. Don't try to dodge it, and don't try to take the long way around it. Acknowledge it and counter it, like I'm about to do, which he didn't do.
Have to do?
Sometimes you have to be at least 18 years old,
What do you have to do?
and in some
going.
places you have to
register.
You have a government-issued ID.
What do you have to? You have to
You have to be on the voter rolls.
You have to register.
Register. You have to register. So you have to register to a right. Is that an infringement?
Does the right to voting say shall not be infringed?
Oh, so
Boom! That was one small point, but he should have ended with that. Here's the thing, though. Yes, you have to register to vote. Here's the thing, John. Why? Why do I have to register to vote? Is it to just exercise my right? Or is it to control how many times I could vote? Because if we didn't have it to where you would have to register, I could, in theory, vote infinitely. Dumbass. That's why you have to register to vote. Because even though voting is a right, you only get to do it once per election, per category. You don't get to vote as many times as you want. Which is why they don't say shall not be infringed. You absolutely need to infringe and regulate how you vote, because if you didn't, you could vote multiple times. They never said in the Second Amendment the right to bear one arm.
Bing bong.
They never said you have the right to bear one arm. They did say you have the right to vote. Not you have the right to vote as many times as you want. They did not say you have the right to vote infinitively. Infinitely, I said infinitively. And you're right, John. Voting isn't a right, it's a privilege. Because if I go to jail, I can't vote.
it's just a semantic argument now.
No, it's not.
You believe voting rights can be infringed because it doesn't say specifically shall not be infringed.
Is it an infringement upon a 17-year-old's right to vote, since they don't have that right to vote?
No.
Oh, it's not an infringement on them?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
Because you're the one making the argument, not me. I'm saying even rights have responsibilities, and that within those responsibilities are
Responsibilities, yes.
responsibilities and order. Otherwise, it's chaotic. I'll go you one further. You want to ban drag show reading.
Hold on. Does the Constitution, what does the Constitution say about the right to vote? Nowhere in the original Constitution does it say that U.S. citizens have a right to vote. Instead, the authority to protect voting rights. In the U.S., no one is required by law to vote in any local, state, or presidential election. According to the United States Constitution, voting is a right. Many constitutional amendments have been ratified since the first election. However, none of them made voting mandatory for U.S. citizens. 26th Amendment section, the right of citizens of the United States who are 18 years of age or older to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on a state of account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Section 2. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. So that means that yes, you have the right to vote, but there are rules to the shit. That's exactly what the shit is saying. So that's why there's a Second Amendment, and that's why there's a what is the voting? Is that the what is that? What the fuck is that? I don't know which amendment that is. Help me, somebody. Help me. 14th Amendment? I think so. One of them. But that's why it's not the second. And that's why it's written the way that it's written. I'm just saying.
Children.
To my knowledge, yes.
Why?
Why?
What are you protecting?
Why can we?
And that within those responsibilities are responsibilities and order, otherwise it's chaotic. I'll go you one further. You want to ban drag show readings to children.
To my knowledge, yes.
Why?
Why?
What are you protecting?
Why can we prohibit children from voting, those under 18 from voting?
Why are you
But
banning
also that?
Is that free speech? Are you,
And here's my thing with that. You're banning, he wants to ban children being exposed to drag queens in public. Yes. Well, let me go back and make sure.
Responsibilities and order, otherwise it's chaotic. I'll go you one further. You want to ban drag show readings to children.
Drag show readings to children. And here was the simple answer to that. Yes, I do. Because dressing up in drag, it's an adult situation. Just like drinking. Just like gambling. That's why we don't let children gamble. That's why we don't let children drink. Because those are things that adults get to do. That's why children cannot consent to sex. Because those are things that adults do. So that's why. A person who is impersonating another gender is not something, it is potentially confusing to a child. No, not potentially. It is confusing to a child. And a child who is highly impressionable should not be exposed to something like that. Just like a child is not exposed to drinking alcohol. Just like a child should not be exposed to having sex. Just like a child should not be exposed to smoking cigarettes. Just like a child should not be exposed to drinking alcohol. Why we don't let kids go to war, to the military? Because a child should not be exposed to killing at a young age.
Why?
Yes.
Why?
Why?
What are you protecting?
Why can we prohibit children from voting, those under 18 from voting?
Why are you
but
banning?
Also that?
Is that free speech? Are you infringing on that performer's free speech?
They can continue to exercise their free speech, just not in front of a child.
Why?
Because the government does have a responsibility to protect.
I'm sorry?
The government does have a responsibility in certain instances to
What's
protect
the
children.
leading cause of death amongst children in this country? And I'm going to give you a hint. It's not drag show readings to children.
Correct, yes.
So what is it?
I'm presuming you're going to say it's firearms.
No, I'm not going to say it like it's an opinion. That's what it is. It's firearms. More than cancer, more than car accidents. And what you're telling me is you don't mind infringing free speech to protect children from this amorphous thing that you think of. But when it comes to children that have died, You don't give a flying fuck to stop that because that shall not be infringed.
Yes. And I would have said, well, John, actually, thank you, DLT. Well, John, actually, you're wrong. The number one thing that's killing children is abortions. And your motherfucking ass is in favor of that, ain't you?
Bing bong.
I don't know how he missed that. I don't know how he missed that. He had a fucking lob for a home run, an alley-oop for the dunk. I would have said, no, John. The number one cause of death of children, it's abortion, motherfucker. Yeah. Huh? This is what I mean by saying you gotta know what you're talking about and what people are gonna challenge you on so that you can say or have the right comeback to that. Just saying. He just stepped right in a humongous pile of elephant shit. And Nathan Dahm didn't know it. Because I don't know if he needs to get a better debate team or get better prepared, but your team let you down on that one, bucko. Because that's one of the things they say. I thought he was going. I'm surprised he didn't bring up Uvalde. The kid that got killed in Uvalde should have never happened. Well, if that's the case, then I guess we should ban abortion because that's the number one killer of children. Ain't nowhere else in the world, Craig, where more babies are dying than at an abortion clinic. Huh? Say what now? You say what now? You say what now, Chuck? You say what now, Chuck? While he doing this? You say what now, Chuck? And that's a for sure right on.
That is hypocrisy at its highest order.
And no, sir, the hypocrisy is you. He just was not prepared. That was unpreparedness at its highest form. The hypocrisy was you, sir, because you want to pick and choose what you feel should be the law because you're living in a fucking bubble. That's all that is. And you're trying to make it seem like if we didn't have no guns, these kids wouldn't be dying. Bullshit. That's bullshit, Alado. That's bullshit. That's not what this is. And it's like we have to, man, when you talking about this kind of stuff and when you're debating this kind of stuff, just, you ain't got to be a scholar at it, but you need to be able to put things in perspective and understand that, hey, dude, there are more things that are detrimental to society that we literally give zero fucks about that's killing way more people. So don't make this a thing about the government and society got to protect us and we got to protect each other from. No, that is not the business that we're in. I'm sorry, but that's just not the business that we are in. That is not our priority. That is not what we care about above all else. I'm just saying. So it's like, don't let somebody just feed you that bullshit and you just run away with it like, yeah, I guess you're right. You got a point. The number one killer of children is guns, gun violence. Nope. It's bitches getting up on the motherfucking table, spreading their legs, getting a kid vacuumed out their pussy. That's what the number one killer of children is. And you are one of the main people that support that, don't you? Don't you, John? So you are in complete support of murdering children. Yes, you are, sir. You're a proponent. You're an advocate for the murdering of children. Have you ever had an abortion, sir? That's the route I'd have took. You ever paid for an abortion? Then you're an accomplice to murder. Murder 1, because that's premeditated. You knew you were going to do it, and you knew what you were going to do. And you were accomplice to first-degree murder. Shall I call the police now, or will you just turn yourself in, since we don't have a lot of police who can investigate that and lock your ass up? I'm just saying. That's why it's so important to know what it is you're talking about and knowing what the facts are about your key points that you want to bring, so that when people do say those kinds of things, you can actually counter them. And it's just a matter of just listening and being logical and taking your time and making your points clear and concise. Don't let people put words in your mouth, and don't let people just belittle your points. Make them stick to it, state it, stick to it, and then say, okay, now debunk it or counter it, and we can go from there. But you're going to acknowledge the fact that the number one cause of death for children in America is abortion. You do understand that, right? That's numbers, like you said, facts. So I think that you advocating for guns and more gun control, but not advocating for abortion being illegal and stopping abortion, I believe that's hypocrisy, sir. Because you want to choose how kids get killed as opposed to kids getting killed. Oh, they can't die by no gun, but they can damn sure die by a shop vac. Right? Exactly. But I just wanted to make sure that I just put that out there, like I said, because I just feel it's part of my duty, because I'm very passionate about the subject, to just make sure that we are all looking at what that is and why this is such a thing now in our country. I understand that gun violence and people dying from guns is a problem, but the way to fix it, it's not with more laws, and it's not with banning, because that doesn't work. Making a thing illegal or restricting it to the point to where it's almost impossible to get when it is a right is not the way to resolve it. Plain and simple. It hasn't worked, because if it did, case in point, it would have worked with drugs. We wouldn't have a cocaine problem. We wouldn't have a fentanyl problem. We would not have a heroin problem, because, hey, it's illegal. And you can't have it here. You can't even bring it over. If you get it, you go to jail. Just saying. If it was that easy, all of the things that we have here in our country that are illegal, plenty of laws around. Ain't no law getting around why you can have a kilo of cocaine, a half ounce of cocaine, a half pound of cocaine. There's nothing that allows you to do it, but people still do it, don't they? People still got crack. People still got coke. People still got heroin, even though it's illegal. I wonder why that is. Why are we more concerned about guns, which is only responsible, which is the tool that's being used for approximately 50,000 deaths, well, really about 30,000 deaths, because almost half of those are suicide, self-inflicted. But we're more concerned about that than we are about drugs, abortion, and other things that cause people to die. Cancer. 600,000 people die every year of cancer. What are we talking about? 46,000 car wrecks. I mean, people die in car wrecks. What are we talking about? And you can just go down the line with obesity. You can go down the line with what the things that Big Pharma are allowing and all that shit. It's like, it's not a thing about saying we're trying to make it safer for everyone. Nope. It's about I have an agenda, you have an agenda, and here's what this really is. That's just what it is. And until we move to a point to where we're more concerned about the things that are the solution, like opposed to having more gun laws, we have more than enough. When we're talking about solutions, like one of the things that the senator did say was saying that fatherless homes is a solution, that if we can fix that, we can solve a lot of problems in our country. Violence, drugs, gangs, all of that. Divorce, mental health, self-care, all of that is tied to fatherlessness. And shout out to Tommy Sotomayor to being one of the main people to actually point that out. To the point to where he did a movie about it. A documentary, which is actually damn good. Go to afatherlessamerica.com and check it out. You won't be disappointed. But I want to thank everybody for tuning into the show. I hope that this video helps somebody become a better version of themselves. I hope that somebody will see this and it will make them think and be more prepared to have this discussion when it comes to so-called people that want to debate gun control or gun legislation. It's not a thing of trying to regulate or trying to make it tougher for guns. It's about saying, hey, everyone should have the right to protect themselves. And the problems that we have with just crime in our country, that needs to be addressed in a totally different way as opposed to restriction. You need to look at one of the main indicators of violence and crime, period. One of the direct indicators of that is the economy, jobs. And not just regular jobs, good paying jobs. If I don't have the ability to feed my family, I'm more inclined to go and commit a crime to do so. If I don't have the ability to feed myself and take care of myself, I'm more inclined to do something criminal to do so. If I'm hungry, I'm going to steal. That's just what it is. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every last one of you all. Thank you. If you have an opportunity, hit that Cash App for me. I didn't really get a chance to really bring it up and drive it home, but definitely hit that Cash App if you can. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section. Please, 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 if you're watching this, join the Rumble channel. The description is, the path is, the link for the Rumble channel is in the description box, and it's also pinned here in the chat. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Y'all could have been anywhere else in the world on the internet tonight, but y'all chose to be here with me, and I really and honestly, I do appreciate it. Thank you guys. If you got any questions or anything like that, hit me up at the Relationship Rehab on Facebook, and I'll definitely get to your questions. And to the person that sent me that question, I'm going to try to find it again. I'm going to look again, but if not, just resend it to me, and I promise you I'll respond. Thank you guys so much. I love y'all. Till next time, peace, and I'm out.
What's going on, everybody out there in the internet world? It's me, Brian Redmond, also known as the Relationship Rehab, and I need you to do two things. What are those two things? Subscribing to both my channels. I need you to go to the Relationship Rehab, subscribe to that channel, and then I need you to go to United Guns of America and go to that channel. Now you may be asking, why would I do that, Brian? Because it's two of the hottest channels on the internet. Come over there, give me your thoughts, give me your opinions, have conversations, because that's what it's all about. We talk about some of everything: politics, relationships, guns, law enforcement, community stuff. Anything that's happening, I'm willing to have a conversation about it, so come on over. You don't got nothing else to lose, and you ain't got nothing else to do. So come to my channel, subscribe ASAP, and join in on the fun. Twice the entertainment, 2 channels, twice the fun. Come on and have a funky good time with your boy. Peace, and I'm out.
And we's out.